The roadside marijuana detector was just patented. You blow into it, it turns red, you're flagged for driving high. A federally funded lab just 3D printed a device that looks like an asthma inhaler. The Justice Department paid for the research, and it does not work the way you think it does. I'm a 12-year criminal defense attorney. Today on Pat Talks Law, we walk through the newest law enforcement voodoo guilty box. What it is, what it can't do, and why you should care. Researchers at Virginia Commonwealth University, funded by DOJ, built a proof of concept THC breathalyzer. 3 parts: a mouthpiece, a 3D printed cartridge, and a detection system. Inside the cartridge is a dye called Fast Blue BB, suspended in ballistic gelatin. When Delta 9 THC hits that dye, it turns red. CBD turns it orange. CBN turns it purple. A small camera and a Raspberry Pi running open source image software read the color and spit out a number. It detects between 10 and 100 nanograms. It distinguishes THC from legal CBD. It's portable, it's cheap, and on paper, that's a real achievement. Most THC breathalyzers on the market today grab a sample, then ship it to a lab. This one reads in place. That's new. And that's why it will be in every law enforcement vehicle in 5 years. A patent application has been filed. PCT US 25 19696. Here's where I stop being impressed and start being concerned. Alcohol is simple. Ethanol enters your bloodstream. Your liver processes it at a roughly predictable rate. Decades of peer reviewed science show the concentration in your breath correlates with the concentration in your blood, and the concentration in your blood correlates with impairment. That's why zero point zero 0.08 means something. The whole legal framework rests on that chain of correlation. Marijuana does not work like that, not even close. THC is fat soluble, it hides in your tissues. A heavy user can test positive days, weeks, even months after their last use, stone cold sober. A first time user can be visibly impaired with relatively low blood THC. The federal agency that sets driving safety standards, NHTSA, has said plainly that THC concentration in blood does not correlate to driving impairment. This is extremely important. THC concentration in blood does not correlate to driving impairment. There is no test that can state Bobby Smith was impaired by marijuana at 3 p.m. on Tuesday. This device doesn't change that. A DOJ researcher said last year that states with per se THC limits may need to, quote, get away from that idea. A 2019 study found drivers at the legal THC threshold were not statistically more likely to crash than people who hadn't used cannabis at all. So we have a device that measures THC presence in breath, and we have decades of federal research saying that measurement does not tell you whether the person behind the wheel is actually impaired. That gap is the entire defense case. Here is what I expect to see based on how alcohol enforcement evolved. First, this device or one like it gets commercialized, probably within 5 years. The patent is filed, the chemistry is proven in a lab. The federal government wants the tool. Demand exists. Second, states with per se THC limits start adopting it as roadside evidence. Missouri doesn't have one. Illinois, Colorado, Washington, Nevada, and others do. A red cartridge becomes probable cause. Probable cause becomes a blood draw. A blood draw becomes a charge. Third, defense attorneys spend the next decade litigating what the scientists already know. The number on the device does not mean what the prosecutor says it means. We will be rerunning case by case the same fight the science has already settled in the literature. CBD is federally legal. Hemp products are everywhere. Last year, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in favor of a trucker fired over a positive THC test he said came from a CBD product. The dye in this new device turns orange for CBD, red for THC. That distinction depends on the device working perfectly every time in a 95-degree car at the side of a highway, after the cartridge has been sitting in a trunk for 6 months. Lab performance and roadside performance are different sciences. So, where does this leave us? The technology is real, the chemistry is sound, the engineering will get there. I'm not going to tell you this device is junk science because the device narrowly does what the researchers say it does. It detects THC in breath. That part is fine. The problem is what's going to be done with that detection. We are about to take a measurement that the federal government's own researchers say does not indicate impairment, and we are going to use it to charge people with impaired driving. That is not a science problem. That's a policy problem dressed up in a lab coat. A few things to watch. One, whether your state has a per se THC limit and whether it's pushing for one. That's the legal hook this device plugs into. Two, whether the device, when it ships, separates active impairment from residual presence. If it cannot do that, and right now nothing can, it should not be treated as a breathalyzer. It should be treated as what it is, a presence detector. Three, what your rights are at a roadside stop in your state. They vary, they matter. If you got charged tomorrow based on a device like this one, the science is on your side. The law in a lot of states is not. That gap is closing in the wrong direction. If you are charged with DUI or a drug DUI, you need an attorney as fast as you can get one. We're not talking weeks, I'm talking hours. I'll keep an eye on the progress of these tests. Subscribe if you want me to.